The following podcast may be explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. Welcome back to the A New Frontier campaign. It has been 2 months since we played this adventure, and we're happy to be back. This episode airs on the 23rd of December, and we'd like to wish you Happy Holidays! Enjoy the podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Shed for Adventures from the Shed. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. Check us out on Facebook. Say hi to us there. We'd really appreciate it. Hey, we are back after many, many episodes off. We're back to A New Frontier. That's our Dungeon World campaign set in the world of Parandisi. We'll jump back into the action in a few moments after we talk to who is here to start the morning. Who's first? This guy.
Hey, it's Chris. I'm playing Uriel, the light in your darkness. Human immolator.
I like that.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Ho, ho, ho! It's Santa Mike.
And he brought all three of his hoes.
Coming to bring you Laramie Burnsteel about the Josiah, just like you asked for.
And Chris said he was the light in the darkness. Who's the darkness?
I don't know.
Probably the cultist.
There is no darkness.
You want to say hi?
There's no cult.
No darkness, only blood.
This is Bridget playing the cleric.
The non-cult cleric.
The
Cultless.
Yeah, I have no cult. I have no what you're talking
it's a
about.
cult-free zone. And I am Joe. I am the game
didn't
master.
say my name, but
Say
that's
my name?
okay.
Okay.
I said it's Bridget, and I'm playing the cleric,
I thought
Lenore.
you said Lenore. Say it again.
Lenore,
Thanks. I'm still Joe.
quoth the raven.
Yeah, that's funny right there.
I know.
And I'm still the game master for this Dungeon World campaign that we're calling A New Frontier. Just as a heads up, Kurt is not here yet, but he'll be joining us. Might be in the beginning of this, or in the middle of this episode, the beginning of the next one. We'll see. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, I'm going to give us a quick recap, and we'll jump back into the action. When we last left our heroish party, heroish, we're very heroish. I like that. That's a new word for me. I like that. I'm so happy with myself. We were in the volcano Mount Dumas. Our characters had found their way into the volcano, which looks like it was set up by dwarves to be a forge. Actually, a place for dwarves to live, but there's a forge there. The characters found their way to the forge area, passing a griffin along the way, who henceforth will be known as possibly Charlie the Griffin. And after finding the forge area, they heard the voice of what turned out to be a half-giant in the next room. After talking to the giant for a few minutes, determining he was evil, and the giant not necessarily knowing what was going on, they decided that they would grab him by the throat, magically speaking, and plunge a flaming sword through it. So this poor giant, I say poor giant, of course, because it's the character I'm playing. This poor giant screamed his death rattle, and then we heard the griffin from the hall behind shrieking out, I'll say in fury, because that's what it actually is, from behind them, and that's where we ended the last episode. Does anyone want to add any notes onto that before we pick it up? Or how you want to start reacting to that turn of events?
I think we're just going to wait and see what happens.
Well, I mean, Laramie really wants to be Charlie's friend, so he's definitely going to pull his shield that is nice and gold and matches the scales on the back of the griffin.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be like, all right, I'm going to go talk to it. And he wants to run off down the hallway.
Lenore? Just that 100-yard stare.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on yet.
No, it doesn't feel great.
Okay.
They have Charlie in the evil factory, but
Okay.
at
So
least maybe we've got rid of the evil part of the factory.
As everybody turns to see Laramie running off, as he runs, there's Laramie. There's this feeling from inside your torso, like something is being ripped out, and everyone else can see this. There is a what looks like a rib bone glowing and floating that kind of flies out of Laramie, and it hits Breton in the side of the head and knocks him out down in the forge room, and it goes past where you guys are to where the half-giant's body is starting to just kind of dissipate into the ground. It's just fading away, and the rib bone comes up in mid-air, and you start to see the shape of something demonic forming around it.
Laramie, I told you to not eat ribs before you go to bed.
But it's so delicious. I can't help myself.
Spicy ribs.
Yeah.
Now, just as a reminder for those who may not remember, we did an episode, a side adventure, where there was the whole bad paladin thing that was trying to summon a demon, and when Laramie threw himself into the soul well, and then you guys returned the bones of the demon back to the order, they said, oh, there's only 12 here, there should have been 13. Well...
Oh, Laramie ate it. Great.
Well,
good job.
Well, in a way.
Soul wells do odd things to you.
Yeah.
When you throw yourself into them.
Yeah.
All right,
Who's
how
the
about
host?
next time we don't go...
You want to tell us something, buddy?
Well, I mean, it's complicated.
And as soon as you see that shape start to form, the griffin goes back to a non-shrieking state. More like the calm watcher that it was when you arrived.
So it looks like evil must exist here no matter what.
Well, what's the shape? Like,
I think like Balrog at about 15 feet tall. Definitely a demon. So wings,
They definitely
long
upgraded.
tail, big, hulking arms, and it looks like it's just taking form. Like it's probably going to take some time. Huh, you say? Huh.
Doesn't bode well for us.
I mean, maybe there's a way to stop him before he totally gets formed up.
Try to destroy the rib. Can I still see the rib, or is it completely...
So you
hidden
go
within
from a
form?
half giant to a demon. Once you defeat the demon, what's coming next?
Right. Dragon.
The littler demon.
Littler? You
Yeah.
think it's going to get smaller?
It's
or
going to
bigger?
get smaller.
I think it's going to get
Either that,
bigger.
it's going to break in half, and then there'll be 2 demons,
Yeah.
and then there'll be 4 demons.
I'm going to go out on a limb here as the GM and say that the evil's going to get bigger and bigger as you keep destroying it.
Okay, so how about we not?
I don't know.
Let's not and say we did.
Makes me want to see how big we can get this.
This is the cage match episode. Yeah.
Let's not. Let's say we did.
Can we, contain it then?
Well, kind of like the half giant, it will be contained where it is.
Yeah, I couldn't get out of the rooms because
Yeah.
it was too big. But it's waiting for whatever it needs to forge some weapon. Although I don't know what this thing's going to do, but it might be waiting for the same thing.
Yeah, a weapon of evil that we don't want him to make.
Perhaps we should pick up Breton and make a retreat and...
How about we take
Explore
away
the
all
rest
its
of the
toys
place.
so it can't make anything bad?
Well, remember, one of the big points here is this is a place of, call it true neutrality. Both
Right.
good and evil have to exist. And that's part of the symbol, the many-pointed star that
Right.
has amorphous good and evil. You can't pin down the good or the evil in it. It's always both. And that goes back to the symbol you found on the underground menagerie under Harak, the hybrid animals and creatures and all that stuff. The symbol was found in Jolly Gerald's forge. That was one of the things that led you in this direction. So this may, and I say may because I'm not going to put it canon yet, but this just may be a process that needs to continue. Good and evil need to alternate here. And part of that seems to be what Gerald was looking for, that ultimate weapon that it's not like the ultimate weapon in the world, but the thing that Gerald wanted done. So it's possible he was waiting his time in the fires of Mount Dumas.
What if we collapse the entrance to this room, and then he can forge all he wants in a room that no one can get in?
I don't think it's going to work like that.
Well,
What if we kill the griffin and then it comes back bigger?
You could not kill
And then-
Charlie.
then you can ride it out of here.
And then good could be a little bit better, a little bit bigger than the
It'll
evil.
just be off balance.
My
And then the
boys
demon
just
will get bigger too.
misunderstood.
It does seem, though, that the griffin is a watcher. It just makes sure that the balance is maintained here. That's its job.
Okay.
So when you guys disturbed the balance, until the balance was remade by pulling out man's rib and making a demon, which is kind of like what happened in the Bible, I think.
Yeah.
What's a Bible?
When that happened, the griffin went back to a neutral state. Like it doesn't. It let
like
you guys through.
Oklahoma?
It doesn't. Yeah, it went to Oklahoma. It doesn't, or Sweden. It doesn't necessarily care who's here as long as there's balance.
Right. But right now, evil is supposed to exist here. Because we're not saying the griffin's good. The griffin's just neutral. He's just hanging out, making sure the balance is maintained.
It is the watcher.
But right now, evil is supposed to be here. So I was trying to
Maybe I can
stamp
go.
that out.
Let me
It's
go
probably not
talk
going
to
to
the
work.
griffin,
Sure.
and then we can get the griffin to leave with us, and then I can have a griffin buddy, and then we just like blow up the volcano or something
And so
like that.
you know the griffin can understand you. You just can't understand it.
That's fine.
And Breton, who is
Very
currently
persuasive.
unconscious, was able to understand
But barely.
weird words and stuff from the griffin, but not really a good stream of consciousness, so to speak. But you can go tell the griffin anything you want.
I'll go talk to Charlie.
Well, I'm going to pick up Brett. Let's at least get out of this room before this demon's completely formed and gets really upset.
Yeah.
At least he's
good
like
idea.
probably just going to hang out in there and wait for whatever he's supposed to wait
Yeah.
for.
So I have no problem with you putting like a name tag on the griffin or something either, because it wouldn't object.
Uh-huh.
In case that matters to you, that everyone knows his name is Charlie.
Well, I mean,
I'm okay
it's
with that.
fine. But yeah, I go up to Charlie, and I'm.
Can we just name him Merv?
Yes.
I
Yes.
almost spit. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I go up to Charlie. I'm like, Charlie, I know you're just doing your job, but mission's over. Now it's time to come on with us. We can give you a nice little place back at the temple. We would put you in the old clock tower, and I'll feed you some rabbits. It'll be delightful, and you should just come on with us, and don't worry about this, because you've done a good job, and it's all done.
And what people who are listening don't see is Mike's giving that little, arm motion with the fist of, come on, buddy, we can do this. Yeah, we got it. Insofar as the blank stare and big saucer, unblinking eyes of the griffin can express anything, you sense a sadness.
Oh, sweet boy. We'll even get your eyes fixed. We got a great optometrist back at the
Some eye
temple.
drops.
You should probably stop talking.
Oh. How
about ask him this? Ask him if he could show us around this, I don't know what you'd call this place. This is the mountain, but it's like it used to be a dwarven home.
Yeah.
See if there's a place where there is like a room with maybe some history, like either books or writings on a wall that might have a history of the place.
A library.
Something we can make sense out of this, because obviously evil must exist here. So us trying to like defeat whatever gets created in that forging room is going to work out for us. So there's got to be something else we need to look at.
All right, Charlie. My friend Uriel here would like to go to a library. Can you take us to a library?
The griffin just starts padding down the hall.
Right.
And when I say padding, remember, one of the ways I described it, some of the footprints earlier was the griffin kind of swoops down and its claws just barely touch the ground. It kind of hovers that way. It's walking, but it looks like it doesn't need to. It could just hover there, but maybe it's just something it likes to do. So its nails or claws tap the ground as it moves along. And it just goes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Follow.
All right.
Come on, Cloud. I got Breton over my shoulder.
So after you follow him for, I don't know, half a minute or so, you're walking along and you get into the mountain and there's caverns that go through the actual structure. You pass by several rooms that just look like their entrances have been destroyed, like there were looters at some point.
All right. Yeah.
Damn looters.
So you walk past, and almost everything is of dwarven make. So people really had to bash down the stone doors. Inside there is furniture hewn out of the stone itself. So like it looks like a couch and a bed, but they're cut out of the rock. So
That's pretty cool.
They're made. Everything is made to fit there. People didn't have to move in. They just made the room the way they wanted. Nobody had to carry furniture in.
And you're not carrying it out.
Yep. So you see a lot of it. Probably angry looters have bashed down the backs of the chairs that just come right out of the floor. anything that would have been of value is gone. You find things like scraps of cloth and leather and pieces of stuff that aren't really of value. And you see this on several rooms that you go by. And then you get to this one spot where the griffin stops and just looks at what is the highest doorway you've seen since you've been here. It's about an 8-foot-tall doorway, and it's arched over the top. And you can see right in it there are glowing runes in the door itself and around the archway all the way to the floor. And, there isn't even a chip here in the rock like anybody tried to bash it. Or it's resistant to such a thing. And that's where Charlie just stops and looks at the door, turns to look at Laramie, and then starts walking back away.
Ooh, does it say, speak, friend, and enter?
You got the right picture. That's the right visual.
Gotcha.
But no, it just has runes. I don't know if anybody here can read runes.
I don't know.
That would be kind of a spout
Sailor
lore-ish
North.
thing, if anything.
Which is intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, I'm intelligent.
Who goes
Here,
spout
just
me
told
some
us.
lore? And anyone and everyone
not
can do
really.
that, of course.
Wait a
I'm not
minute.
a smart man, but I do know how to read runes,
Okay,
perhaps.
And remember, too, you can also use it as aid. You can aid each other.
I got a 10, so I might be able to pick up something.
10?
10.
You know, as he rolled that, it just made me think of something. Did anybody write down how many chips they may have had from last time? Should we have any
have
chips on the table?
I have 1 experience point listed, so I would just have
I
1
have,
chip.
I have none.
Let me grab this and I'll put it on the table. These are always way heavier than I think they're going to be. All right. So you got 10 plus?
Yes.
Nice.
Just right out of 10.
So for that spout law, you are sure, although you can't read them or necessarily activate the runes, you are sure you have seen this somewhere before. And this is always useful for me because Uriel doesn't remember anything from the past. So this memory just jumps to
Right,
you.
stuff starts to open up.
Yes.
You know?
So this
Yeah.
memory jumps to you of a time where you see yourself in this picture in your mind. You see yourself, and I'm going to say it's a picture. It's like a painting on the wall. You see yourself, the back of you. You've got these little like puffs of smoke coming up from your shoulders, like you just did something that required you to immolate. And around you are people about 2/3 your height, and their backs are to the picture itself. So it's a painting of you standing in front of a door that looks exactly like this. You've been here or somewhere like it before, and you had dwarves around you, all completely clad in dwarven armor and holding axes.
Is this door made out of stone, you said, or is it a wooden door?
It's all stone.
Okay.
Everything in here is stone, unless it had to be wood. Or metal, I should say.
I gotcha. Is there any keyhole or whatever, or not necessarily?
Yes,
it looks like a keyhole.
there actually is. Right in the middle of the door, there's an indent in the shape of the star.
I'll put my gold symbol in there, see if it fits.
It does,
All right,
but it doesn't do anything.
I'll heat it up.
Oh. You heat it up and you can feel the door like it's shuddering, but not quite moving.
Twist it. Bop it.
Slap it, smack it. Drop it like it's hot.
Do a little.
Wait, it is
do
hot.
little hits.
Now, because of your good spout lore roll, I will also add in that as a place of balance, one thing might not work. If you're using heat, you might also need
Yeah.
something else. And since the star itself represents good and evil, and you're using hot, you might go
Right.
towards the opposite of
Anybody
hot.
got anything kind of chill?
Yeah, but what's cooler than being cool?
Ice cold.
Supposedly the griffin.
All right.
The griffin was cold to the touch.
Dun, 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 dun.
He probably can't help us. What do you guys got? You guys got anything?
I mean,
Blood.
That's still warm.
it's not always the solution.
It's thicker than water, but
So it probably can't freeze, but it could go.
who's dragging Breton? I'm
He
just
is.
curious.
I was dragging him, but
Yeah.
I would have had to set him down. for
I'm
that.
I'm sitting on
I
him.
just think because
He's like
Cloud
a
would
piece
be
of
there,
furniture
too.
right
Yeah.
now.
Right. He's sitting on. I don't. Because of the way that Kurt has played Cloud, I don't think Cloud would mind somebody sitting on Breton. Kind of a stubborn dog,
Yeah.
kind of.
Just
thing.
like it.
Cloud
Serves you
would
right.
totally sit on him.
Exactly. You sit now, punk.
Well, I mean, everything is stone, so it's looking for something
something softer.
soft to sit on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Dwarves weren't much for comfortableness.
So I'm sitting on him.
Mind.
I'm keeping him from going anywhere. I don't want him to accidentally
Who
levitate.
has adventuring gear?
Can I use a vial
do.
of holy water? Is that cool enough, maybe? I don't know.
Well, what I'm looking for is somebody to use up a resource.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it may be. So if you've got adventuring
I
gear,
have holy water.
if you have adventuring gear,
Yeah.
mark one use of adventuring gear, and you have just like a cold piece of iron or something in your backpack. Second drawer is where all the writing implements are. Yeah, but you're not plugged into anything right now, so you can. Mike has one for you too.
Thank you.
But yeah, so mark off a use of adventuring gear, and so you add hot and cold together, and then the door opens, and it looks indeed like a library where every piece of furniture again is out of stone. So there are counters around the outside of the room. There is a single wooden and metal thing in the room, and that is the ladder that rolls along the outside wall.
Gotcha.
And this is 4 layers high. Now, 4 layers high for dwarves, but 4 layers high, so maybe about 20 feet. And there are books on every shelf. Every square inch is taken up by books. And every one of them looks like it's part of a small collection. So there's maybe 1,000 Encyclopedia Britannicas around this room.
Right.
It's a big enough room that it goes up about 25 feet, and it's about 40 feet deep and 30 feet wide. Lots of space in here. Looks like it was entirely for studying and recording information.
All right,
In the far end is a table that would have been standing height for a dwarf. It is. It still has books open, and at that table is a dwarven skeleton that just looks like it died standing there.
Wow.
And a book open in front of it.
All right, so we'll drag Brett in, get Cloud in. I want to shut the door so nobody's sneaking up on us. So we have some time to look at things.
Okay.
I want to start looking around the room, either shelves or the walls, for that symbol first before I start looking at any books. That's what I want to do first, to see if I notice the symbol in a specific spot or spots.
So the way it works out, as call it a rectangle room, where you came in, there's nothing on that wall. So when you turn around to the door, it's just the blank wall with the door. Yeah. The rest, the 3 sides of the room, one side of the room, we'll just say when you walked in, it's the right side. The right side of the room has stars on every one of the book, the same symbol, with half as many points. In Laramie, you realize everything on that side of the room is evil. And when you look on the other side of the room, every book has stars with half as many points, and that side is not evil, because Laramie can only tell evil. You can assume what it is,
yeah.
And then straight ahead behind the dwarven skeleton at the table are books that have all of the points in the star. And those are the amorphous good, evil, somewhere between 15 and 20 points.
Gotcha.
All right. So evil books, good books,
Right in the middle.
middle books. I want to see what book is so important that he died reading it. So I want to see what the book is that he is like.
When you approach, you see he was writing, not reading. There's actually a quill there in his hand, and he was halfway down a page. What are the chances anyone here can read Dwarven?
There might be a little chance for me, only because of the whole forging thing. I might have come
now
across it more.
Now you know
more
in
and
your
more.
past
Right.
you were either here or somewhere like it before.
Right, that's true. So it's
Yeah.
possible.
Does anybody think they might know enough to aid Uriel?
I mean, Laramie travels a lot, so he might know bits and pieces enough to maybe help. Like,
Does he have any dwarf friends?
I mean, I would imagine. Like,
You don't have to imagine. You could just say it is or isn't.
I mean, I would say there's probably some dwarves in the order.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Possible.
Okay.
So I'll eat you.
And what I'd like to do, because I don't think we have any bonds, right?
We do.
You do? Okay. I thought overall we did.
I don't have anything with him.
Okay. So, what? Oh, it's all right. We already told the listeners that you might be showing up. So Kurt just walked in, and at some point he may pick up his mic and join this episode because we're only halfway through. But Mike, here's what I want to say. If you can name the dwarf and how he might have showed you some of the language, you can get another +1. Just make sure you write it down.
All right. So back when I was hanging out at that one Dwarven city,
Oh, if you said that, now you got to give me the name of the city too.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but you did it.
Fildergard? Fildergard sounds good.
What does that start with? What letter?
Filter?
F.
F? Okay.
I was hanging out with this guy, Baron Rome Knuckle.
Rome Knuckle?
Rome Knuckle.
Rome Knuckle.
Okay.
And we were hanging out in a bar, and it got to that point where you're hanging out with people, and you're like, oh, what is this in your language?
So you start saying that?
And so I know a lot of the things that are in a bar for dwarves.
I could see the whole night as how you say mug, how you say beer, I could see that happening.
Yeah. So that's
All
mostly what he knows.
So add a +1 plus whatever you had for a bond.
Okay. So let's do.
I don't mind making up rules as we go.
Of course not.
All right. So that's 9.
9, so that'll give Chris an extra +1 for his roll for Uriel here in Spout Lore.
I'll take it. All right, see if I can pull this off.
Oh,
no.
What is that? Does that get you up to a 6?
No.
Gets you up
I'd
to
have-
5?
Yeah.
So take another chip.
Good. Man, I think your bar talks were just not helping me out here. I don't need to know wench and all
I'm
that
pretty
stuff.
sure that is the word
And
for
she's got a
whiskey right there.
Great piece of land.
So you've got a 1,000-page book with 900 pages written, and you got the word whiskey on 200 of the pages, apparently. Whatever that means.
I can't. This guy's handwriting's a mess.
Yeah.
All I can
Oh,
make out
sweet.
is,
Good morning,
He
the
must
doctor.
have died while writing it.
That's
I mean,
that's all I get.
Does it seem to look like a journal, though? It's more of a journal. Does it have like a day? We might know like dates on it, maybe, and it's not.
Well, let me make a note, because you guys were examining what was going on. When you looked at the book on the back, on the binding of the book, this was an evil book.
Oh, okay.
He's writing in
He's
a
adding more.
book that counts as evil. Let's put it that way.
It's probably important stuff in here.
So at this point, before you go further, Kurt, go ahead and turn your microphone on, and excuse
Slap
me,
him awake.
and I'm going to give you a quick recap of where you are right now.
Oh,
Can you remind me my character's name?
Yeah, Breton.
and I'll
Yeah, we
stop
got
sitting
Breton.
on you now.
Brett
And now,
Knopfler.
conveniently, you can play some amnesia because of the way I did this. The last thing you remember, you're waking up right now, and the last thing you remember before was you were in the chamber with the half-giant, and Lenore had did a hold person, held him by the throat. You guys had decided he was evil, and Uriel plunged a flaming sword through him. He died. The griffin shrieked, and when that happened, Laramie turned to head towards where the griffin was, and you saw the spectral rib float out of Laramie into the other room, and it hit you, and you fell unconscious. And now you're waking up in a dwarven library with these guys next to a dwarven skeleton, looking through this book.
Yeah, and I was sitting on you to keep you
Cloud's
safe.
licking your face, probably.
Have you been
Yeah.
carrying me around the
I
whole
was, yeah.
Dragged.
Well,
You
not
were
too far.
dragged, half carried, half
Yeah.
dragged, sat upon, dragged some more, sat upon again.
Oh my god. My head is killing me. Holy gosh.
He might have hit that doorway coming through.
And now, because you're waking up into
Sorry.
this, I'll quickly re-describe the room you're in. You're in what looks clearly like a library. All of the furniture is made out of the stone of the mountain itself. Like the room is carved out of the mountain. The only thing in the room that wasn't carved out of the mountain is the ladder that they use to get around the books. The books are 4 shelves high, and the ladder is wooden and metal. In the room, when you wake up and you see one side of the room has half of that symbol that represents balance with a lot of stars on it, but that symbol only has half of the stars on one side of the room. That has been identified as Laramie as the evil side. The other side has half of the stars, not evil, and then the middle of the room where there is a tall table, tall for dwarves, and a dwarven skeleton there, and you can see them rifling through a book that the dwarven skeleton was standing at. That part of the room has the full symbol of full balance. So that's what you're waking up to see, as these guys are arguing over if this word means whiskey or wench. But it definitely starts with a dwarven W, right?
Definitely Dorm W.
Definitely.
So you could be as disoriented as you want, because I played it right into Kurt.
Oh, hey, welcome back, Breton.
Lenore was sitting on you because every piece of furniture is stone.
It's so hard and unforgiving, so I was just... Hey, how you doing?
I'm so hard.
No.
You were
The
the
other...
opposite of that.
You were
Like a
the...
cushion.
You're the
You're
cushiony
nice
thing
and
in the room. Yeah.
Are you calling me soft and flabby?
No, I'm
In a
just...
dwarven city, you are the softest thing there.
I'm just nicely rested now. Thank you. How are you doing? How's your head?
I have no idea what's going on.
Welcome to the club.
Can you speak?
Wow.
Can you read Dwarven?
Dwarven?
Yeah.
Only when I'm really drunk.
Ow.
Anybody got any booze?
How about semi-conscious?
Whoa, sorry.
We could hit you some more about the head, and that might work.
That's kind of funny right there.
Dwarven is not really my forte. I'm a little better with Goblin. I'm a little bit better with Draconic. Those dwarves, they're an odd bunch.
Dwarven isn't apparently anybody's forte. You could take a stab at it. But the idea was the dwarven skeleton looks like it was writing in this book when it must have died in place, and there was just a skeleton there with a quill next to its hand, and this book was being written in at the time.
Are we sure he was writing Dwarvish?
We are sure insofar as it was a dwarf doing it, and nobody seems to understand it yet. How about that?
Maybe it was an evil dwarf and he's writing in Abyssal.
This wasn't one of the books clearly marked with an evil symbol.
Oh, God, my head hurts.
I mean, I got a backup plan.
Yeah?
I can try to speak with the dead.
Laramie, I missed the mellifluent sound of your voice while I was unconscious.
Oh, I
It is
know.
so soothing
So yeah,
and so righteous.
I'm down with the Speak with Dead thing. That's a good idea.
Interesting. Let's read it, and let's remind us what we do with that.
In speaking with the dead, a corpse converses with you briefly. It will answer any 3 questions you pose to it to the best of its knowledge it had in life and the knowledge it gained in death.
Okay. That sounds like you're about to cast a spell.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's try it. What does it look like sound like, smell like when Laramie casts Speak with the Dead? Is there like a sulfurous smell or anything?
I feel like I've done it before, but I don't remember. I think he just sort of waves his hands over it, and there's sort of like this darkness that sets into, because it's like the only real sort of almost necromantic thing that he does. Mm-hmm. So it's like this darkness that he's like saved up that goes down into it, and then for a couple seconds the thing can speak.
Laramie, I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to talk like you because I just slide in.
what he
It's
has
a fun
to do.
way to do it.
Yeah.
Being able to talk with dead people is so much cooler than just being able to track wild animals.
I know it.
I mean, I don't know. I like what you got going on over there.
Because when you're just tracking something, it's
He
hard to
got-
do that ventriloquist thing where you just stick your hand in the corpse and make the mouth
He
move.
got hit in the head pretty hard.
I mean,
Yeah,
dead
remember
people.
that.
You can talk to dead people.
So hard he doesn't even remember his stats.
I remember I'm a ranger. Thought my name was Seamus, but that must have been a different ranger.
Is that why you asked?
We should totally stick on you, Seamus.
Oh man.
So for our listeners,
It's been a long time.
yeah, our listeners know you haven't heard Kurt in 7 episodes, I think.
Probably.
So it's been a while. So you haven't heard Kurt for almost 2 months, and he's back, and we're very
I'm
happy
back.
to have him
I'm
back.
in full force.
And we're back.
All right, let's
Right.
cast that spell,
Yeah.
Laramie.
Roll big, roll big. Yeah.
Oh.
Dang.
That's an 11 on the dice.
Okay, so you failed, and all right. So when you do this, do you expect the thing to animate, or do you just hear it yourself? Is everyone else going to hear what goes on, or is it just something Laramie has with the spirit?
I want to say that it's probably everyone.
Okay.
Ooh, it's puppet time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the skull like perks up.
So what'll happen here is
This
the
be like, sorry, Joe, to interrupt
go
you,
ahead.
but can this be like one of the skeletons from Pirates of the Caribbean, the ride at Disney World?
I can't help you there because I don't
Yeah,
know.
we have
it.
no reference for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's just a funny talking
In
skeleton.
that case, absolutely.
So what I'm
With a
going to
cat.
what I'm going to say happens. You can tell me if it fits. How about that? The way it works is it was the skeleton was kind of hunched over the table because it was there writing, and when you successfully cast and that darkness comes out of your hands that you're waving over the skeleton, only the skull lifts up. And the rest of it stays down, so the skull like disconnects from the skeleton, and it kind of floats right at your eye level, and it's looking at you insofar as eye sockets can look at you, and it just looks like it's waiting.
All right. What did we come here for?
Don't ask me.
Well, we need information because our position is there's something evil here. It's supposed to be here, but obviously we're not down with that. But how do we stop? Because it's going to forge some type of weapon to do some bad stuff, so we need to figure out how to stop that. Or do we have to wait? We could always ask, do we need to wait for this weapon to be created before we could make a play to stop anything? Because we're trying to preempt everything, right?
All right.
Or do we need to wait to a certain time, and then do we have to let the bad thing come to pass before we can do anything about it?
All right. Sounds good.
Now, how many questions do you get?
I get 3.
Okay.
1,000.
Which in Dwarvish is setenta.
See, he knows dwarf.
Well, he knows how to speak it. He doesn't know how to read.
I can't read it.
It's a huge difference.
It's a casual understanding. Yeah.
Hello, sir. I am Laramie Burnsteel, Paladin of Josiah. I have the sad news to tell you that you are a deceased member of our society. But I have the ability to ask you a few questions, and I'm hoping you could help us out. So my first question is, there is a great evil in your forge, and I'm wondering if you have any idea of how to get it out of the forge or stop them.
Unfortunately, Mike, I have to say no. For that answer, no. The answer is no.
Oh.
Because this guy in life had no idea.
Okay.
But if he's writing something in the evil book,
Yeah.
maybe he doesn't think that evil is really evil. Maybe he thinks evil is good, and he doesn't understand what you mean.
Or,
possible.
Ask
or
him
he's seeing
how
it as
to
just
how to make things evil,
Well, he's
and then
not
he'll
seeing
tell
it
you the
that way.
opposite.
He's seeing it as a part of nature where it's not necessarily evil or good. It just is. It just is.
Possibly. There's nothing you've seen so far indicates to you that the dwarves were keepers of neutrality. Nor do you see anything that said they were evil. You haven't walked by any, sacrifice rooms and, kill all the good people rooms. They just seem like dwarves that lived here and just happened to have an archaically, that's wrong word, a magically protected library. So some people clearly knew about the whole good and evil thing, but that didn't seem to be the motif of the rest of the dwarven city under the mountain.
Have I mentioned how cool it is that Laramie can talk to dead dudes?
You mentioned it once or twice. All right.
Britton, why don't you
about
go play
asking
with the
him-
dog?
Because there's apparently though this weapon needs to be created here. Can we ask him something about that? Like what would be created, or why does it need to be created here, or what? I don't know.
Like, what would their benefit be?
Well, I don't know. I'm like just spitballing here. I'm kind of.
Because
This guy might be like, well, it's before. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was
'cause wasn't
thinking,
around for
like,
that.
if this guy's focused on the books, like, is there a book in here that would help?
The
to-
dwarf says,
to-
"You should really plan your questions before you speak with the dead."
Well, you got nothing but time, sir.
You're not going anywhere, buddy.
That isn't winning you any points.
Or do we want to ask him what? Yes, I don't know if we want to ask him what's.
I guess we'll try one.
Sure. And remember, you can recast a spell, too. It's not like
Oh, that's true.
this is all you get.
So, sir, do you have any books in here that would help us in combating evil?
All right, so the hand holding the quill drops it, and it just lifts up and points at the good side of the room. All of that.
Okay, that's real specific.
That was
That's
helpful.
All right. That's okay.
It's only about 500 books on that side.
All right. Now I
The
can
dwarves are brief. I mean,
Maybe we
that's
should have
true.
asked him for the best book.
Yeah.
Now I can recast this. This will just be a question for good old Laramie. But
How old are you?
Sir, do you have any books in here that would allow me to let a griffin that is magically linked to this place make it able to be released from its burden?
The simple answer, I guess, would be the Watcher is bound here. It cannot exist outside.
Oh. I'm real sad.
That's it for him.
Now, I guess his head just like slumps back down.
Yeah.
Is Laramie looking for a pet?
Yeah, he wants that
I just want to
specific
say
pet.
Charlie.
He's named it Charlie.
Well, I guess, I mean, looking at it from Charlie's perspective, if you did anything to him other than what he is, you wouldn't be saving him. You'd be harming him. If you let him go about his business, that's kind of what he is.
What
He's
if
not
I gave
trapped.
him new business?
It's his existence. You'd have to find another Watcher, perhaps. That could be a quest that Laramie goes on. Think about that from the Paladin perspective. He may go on a quest to find a replacement for Charlie.
I'm so jazzed up, I just split that cashew in half with my hand.
But that's something to think about, whether it be for now or for future. You may go on a quest to replace Charlie.
Okay.
Because Paladins go on quests. It's an important thing for them. It's one of their starting moves.
Is there anything... do we just look at the good books, or do we...
I think we need to look at both, because, I mean, what if it's a history of what's happened here?
Yeah.
Like this whole, all right, the bad books are like when the evil showed up and did stuff, okay, and there's a history, and then we might need to look at both to kind of see, like, what has happened here in the past might predict what's going to happen soon.
Okay.
But we can't read. The problem is we can't read this. That's the big
Well,
issue.
the first one you went to was the one the dwarf was writing.
Right.
So it just turns out that one's in Dwarvish.
Yeah.
As
true.
you look at the other books around, they're written in every conceivable language you could think of. And they appear to be dated for millennia past. There are books before you thought the world was created.
Wow.
Ooh, look, and there's one book here called Google Translate.
What is this?
You have to
Google?
put the other book inside of it and see what happens. And, it just comes out all up. So amongst them and the languages that you guys do understand and can read, what you gather is, over the years, this place, the library itself, has moved from location to location around Parandisi itself. And this is where it currently rests. And in this place, what's being made is, you find it in a lot of different places, and we'll put it in air quotes, the weapon. It's capitalized. The T and the W are capitalized every time. It's not given a name. What you can see through time is other things that have been created and documented in this library are the book and the vessel and the timepiece, and you find a lot of thes like that, and these things are apparently neutrality devices that are created wherever the library is currently stored. What you can't get, unfortunately, because nobody is able to read the Dwarvish, is what the current task of evil in this place. But the reign of the library is with evil right now. And all you can tell, maybe in the most recent good book, is the dwarves are here to prepare the forge.
Okay.
And now, apparently at the end of that book, it is time for evil to reign again. And apparently the dwarf was writing about the evil, and the evil may have just showed up.
Yeah.
That's what you can guess out of what's there. But I wanted to leave it kind of generic when I talk about the things, so
Right.
that we can leave that open if somebody's looking for a quote, the thing, whatever it is. Like the Zoraika amulet that may be something you already have. That's in, what was it, a blood ruby or something? That special one?
Right.
There are things like that throughout the world that help apparently represent good. And you find little diagrams of different things, but nothing that's concrete, nothing that tells you exactly what or where it is. Because perhaps that would upset the balance. If you know exactly where to find things of true balance, that might upset the balance. Who knows? Especially if you're not completely neutral yourself. Did anyone here pick neutral as an alignment?
I did.
Okay. I
I
think
don't know what the.
I think
don't have a
Trillian
neutral.
had. She
There's
was
lawful.
concerned with neutral.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have neutral as an option.
Okay. I was just curious if,
I feel like
if
I was
anyone
neutral,
had that.
but I'm not 100% sure.
Most Kurt characters seem like they're pretty neutral.
Pretty neutral. I'm very lawful, rarely lawful, and very rarely truly good.
He's definitely optimistic. Kurt plays optimistic characters.
I try to enjoy life.
You know,
good.
But right now, I got a hell of a headache.
for kicks, I'm going to take my very special blood symbol,
Yeah.
and I'm going to see if I can look at the way that the points of the symbol are arranged and see if
Yeah.
there's a book that has a similar or very close arrangement to that, and see just for kicks.
Yes.
See if
you
it-
find one on the good side,
Okay.
and that book is written in a language you don't quite understand.
Oh, well.
You could try and figure it out, perhaps.
Are
But-
you able to
take it with
commune with your god, though, to get information like that or not?
Ow, it just bit my tongue.
Is there blood?
Is that a cult thing?
Is that a cult
I was going
thing?
to say, with blood,
Yeah.
you can definitely read that book.
Yeah.
Just spit on it a little bit.
And I mean, you could come up with a way of how you might be able to read a book. I'll talk for a little so you can recover from the tongue biting. And the important part being the book you found. So remember, in the neutral symbol, it's kind of amorphous. The number of points change in the good and evil swap. But on the good side, there's a fixed number of points, and on the bad side, there's a fixed number of opposite points. So you're able to match up yours, and now it looks like the Order of Zoraika is 4 points, because I'm looking at the drawing you made here on the little piece of paper. You do find the one book that has that, and it matches exactly the way that it would hang. So the points are straight up
Right.
and down, left and right. There are other 4-pointed ones that are cattywampus. They're off, right? So you found one that matched. And you do find the word Zoraika in the book, but it looks like, I don't know, it's like it's written in a language, say you had 26 letters in your alphabet, it's written in a language that had 26 letters, but they're out of order. It's almost like cryptographic, but the same letters, just a different language, a different usage of those letters. So it's definitely not
Okay.
something that looks right. Kind of like Pig Latin, but not that simple. The words aren't the same, but the letters are the same.
So I wouldn't be able to figure it out.
Oh, you
anyway.
might. It
you
could
might
be
be able
something
to
that you would have
translate it.
learned in the Nut Cult.
I don't learn anything in nut cults.
So just regular cult.
Only in the cult, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Other stuff on in the cult.
In the cult.
In the cult.
Might
So
you spout some lore from your character's knowledge?
I might.
You might. Does anybody else
What?
know about the cult? I mean, the order?
I was going to say they're pretty keeping stuff
I mean,
on the
we're-
lowdown for Zoraika.
Yeah. So
Let's see what you got. You got a no.
Oop.
What's that on the
No.
dice?
that's a 3.
One of them isn't a 1. That's good. And you got +1 for intelligence, so that brings it straight up to 4, all the way up to 4. So go ahead and grab a chip.
That's because these weren't
That's some
matched.
quality experience right there.
That is. It's quality.
I have to find different ones.
Can't read. Apparently there are a bunch of illiterates running around here.
So you don't quite make out what's there, but it from what you can tell, there is a clear indication that this book implicates might be the wrong word. I don't know.
Implicates is good for a cult.
It is.
There's no-
That's right.
no.
Reference, but Zoraika is listed throughout the book in the spelling that you're familiar with.
Okay.
Did any of these books have either illustrations or any kind? Even if
Do
it's
they have
like
pictures?
a crap.
Pop-up books.
That we might get a little bit of information of like what a scene might be or something that it might give us a little bit of a story. We could try to glean something from it.
All right, so I guess let's go back to the one the dwarf was writing. Further back in the book, there are a couple of pages where, I'll say it because I like the way this is going to sound to my head. In one of the pages, you see what looks like a rough sketch of 4 people and a dog killing a giant. And then on the next page, you see fire and brimstone and a demon forming. And that's close to the spot where the dwarf is currently writing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't like
So-
that book.
Oh, I got an idea. Maybe he is creating the future, and we can just write ourselves in the book and just be like, hey, this is how it happened. Like,
I can write dwarvish, I just can't read it.
and that guy never showed up and didn't want to do this evil thing, and story over.
And story
And
over.
scene.
And we all got barbecue back in the day.
We all ate Joe's ribs.
I like the barbecue thing.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I mean,
You can try to write in the book, yeah.
try. Yeah. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be in Dwarven. Maybe just
Well, no, because they're all different languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Books have different language.
So we could try to literally write the history.
I am going to treat this as a defy danger roll for whoever is going to do the writing. And you're going to tell me if you think you're going to be smart or wise in your writing, because that's what I'm going to look for, because it's going to be one or the other, intelligence or wisdom.
I mean, I think my friend Lenore would probably be the best to write well in
She
the
knows
book.
how to write.
I can wisdom
I
the heck
can write
out
a
of it.
story, but
Yeah.
mostly it's stuff my kids would like. So maybe I'll let you take
Okay.
a tackle at it.
Just as a reminder, in case you don't remember, you are writing in the Book of Evil. And evil is apparently the current state in Mount Dumas.
Okay.
So you choose what you write, but make sure you know that.
Okay.
And there's a griffin that is very concerned with balance. Charlie is his name.
So
you guys decide
can't
what you
just
want to
do
write.
like a happily ever after, and they all went to have
The
barbecue.
demon decided to go skinny dipping in the lava flow and party over.
Well, let's put it this
I don't
way.
know.
If you just write happily ever after in the Book of Evil, does that mean evil lives happily ever
Yeah.
after? Think of it that way.
And how about good and evil remained in a perfect, unending balance for all eternity that could never be disturbed by anything ever.
And nobody else has
And
tried
no
to
one
write that in
ever-
the last 4,000 years.
But that doesn't sound like fun. You got to have some conflict.
I'm okay with it.
But you like to suffer.
Maybe you could just
There's
be like,
a difference between evil and suffering.
And suffering, I
just
guess.
describe an evil weapon that's not so bad that we could probably destroy.
Oh. It was a cursed pet rock.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn funny. It would be the
It-
Rock.
It
Well,
had
you could
eyes.
name it Dwayne.
It had eyes that
Because the giant was waiting for something to show up so he could forge a weapon. So
Yes.
he needed ingredients, or I don't know, or he needed part of a weapon to complete to finish it off. I don't know, kind of thing.
Yeah, you guys interrupted the flow of balance.
I mean, you can also just say, oh, he made a knife, and then he put that knife in a box that no one could ever disturb. And then that box is just stored away in somewhere that won't hurt anyone. The end.
and they all went out for barbecue.
They all went out for barbecue.
I'm liking the barbecue thing. I am. Just a bunch of salty nuts on the table. I mean, I put them there. So.
I mean, I'll roll to write.
I want to know what you're writing.
Well, I have no idea. I'm just writing what they tell me.
Well, I want to know what it is.
It's going to end with, and they all went out for
We
barbecue.
have full faith in you.
All right,
to
so we
write
got the
whatever you want.
ending. We need
Yeah.
the middle area.
Well, that's why I said, and everything was in perfect balance for all eternity that could never be disturbed by anything ever for any reason. Ever.
Are we able to look at some of these other books to see how things played out, where evil reigned, and then what happened to it? Was it defeated by good? Because or is it a certain amount? Does it seem like there's always a certain amount of time? Evil gets this much time, good gets this much time, and it's always equal, or is it different all the time?
It is an equal amount of time, but the amount of time changes.
Gotcha.
So good and evil may have a year, or they may have 100 years, or they may have 500 years. But it's the same amount of time.
Right.
And there are preparations made for when evil shows up at the end of good's time, good stops. There's no transition. It's just good stops, evil starts. And at the end of evil's time, evil stops, good starts. And from what you gather, based on the way you read the other books, this may be the first time Good didn't get out in time, because the dwarf shouldn't have been writing. It looks like all the other books are finished, and he should have been finished with the book before he was extinguished.
Sounds like the balance was upset then.
Although maybe you don't have to. Maybe you just have to put an ending on it. Maybe you just have to be like, and the hero showed up, and they stopped it, and now it's good time.
Now it's barbecue.
So
And
the good side book before this evil one was a 5-year book, by the way. So this evil one may have been a 5-year book. However, as far as anybody knows, the dwarves haven't been here for hundreds of years. So there's something wonky.
So evil's not taking its turn. Leave it to evil.
Well, it needs to, though.
Yeah, evil's trying.
It's trying to take its turn.
Evil,
and it needs to. It needs to take its turn.
People keep showing up and stabbing the giant. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it probably started out like some little goblin dude, and then it just, it just kept showing up, and it just kept getting
It
bigger.
was actually an evil amoeba to start. Yeah.
Somebody actually stepped on him.
Dang.
Escalation. It's an arms race between good and evil. Between good and evil.
All right, so does this skeleton,
Yeah.
does he look like he took damage someplace?
It looks like he just went from non-skeleton to skeleton. Like, if he died, he wouldn't have been standing there dying. He
Right.
probably would have fallen to the floor or something. He just went from being to skeleton. Like that,
Okay.
apparently.
Magical means, possibly.
Yeah. Or evil magical means.
All right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So evil showed up, maybe even early. Oh, we're early. We're going to start this party.
Or good hung around too long. One or the other.
Yeah.
There isn't an even split like the last 4,000 years of history in these books that you're able to find. This one was off. Something was off. And I will make
I'm sure
mention,
we did it.
I will make mention, too, that you guys had a run-in with a bad dwarf recently, too.
Right.
I say recently as in,
Drummond.
for the people in this room, like 6 months ago. But recently in the story, yeah, Drummond was a bad dwarf. And we know he was a bad guy. No question about it.
Yeah, he possibly knows what's going on. You could always write in there that the, you could technically write in that we usher in the new era of goodness,
Yeah.
But are we bringing goodness or?
Well, it's time for evil to show up.
Yeah, that's what
I guess
thought.
that's the other thing I should mention. It looks like good writes the evil books and evil writes the good books.
That's interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Who writes
That's why
who writes-
the dwarf is writing the evil book. And it's all about what evil's doing next.
Can we even check out the middle ground books to see if there's anything weird with those, since they're both, they're like neutral?
In
How
that,
those work out?
in those books, it is almost always tales of, I say almost always because you can't read all of them, so you're
Right.
not sure. They are tales of the things, the quote-unquote, the capital the. Those things out in the world. So once they were created, what did they do? So
Okay.
the timepiece helped slow down time for the balance of nature for the druid one time.
So can we find anything about her symbol or about my magical tongs or anything like that? Or even the symbol I have I'm carrying? in one of
The
those
symbol itself is just the symbol of balance.
books? Okay.
So it doesn't have any innate properties in and of itself. The symbol of Zoraika, however, is balance insofar as you bring suffering to where there is not suffering, and there is a balance there. So there's nothing much more descriptive than that.
But it was still in a good book.
right.
Right, because they are, as an order, as Zoraika isn't about hurting people. Zoraika is about helping people. But in order to help the people, you have to find the people who are suffering. So it's kind of like you seek out people that are afflicted with evil, and that makes you feel better, while you make them feel better.
Plus, evil writes the good books. So
Yeah.
there's
Wait,
that.
I mean, you could just be like, okay, and evil showed up, and the heroes vanquished him, and then the new evil guy showed up to write more books, and his name was Dean Koontz.
He writes lots of evil.
You should also write in there that the 4 people with the dog can read all languages. You should put that in the book.
I mean, you can write whatever you want in there. I
Yeah.
guess.
I just want a couple of sentences
Because it might
that
not
go
take.
with the role.
You might start writing and it doesn't take.
Yeah.
Who knows? We might be doing this for the wrong way.
I mean, it's worth a shot.
So you're going to write it. What you going to write?
I'm writing what they say. I don't.
But
And
they
I don't
said a lot
even.
of stuff now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know there's barbecue.
I'm okay with the end being, and
And they all went out for barbecue.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so the 4 heroes and the dog
Showed up and
got rid of
vanquished evil.
and
We don't
and had chicken wing.
Not Charlie.
Barbecue.
Griffin barbecue.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with Griffin barbecue, except for the Griffin, I suppose.
Oh, before that the barbecue part, did you write in the book that the Watcher was let free of his duties?
Oh, that could be a bad thing.
Yeah, we want the Watcher to watch until you go get another Watcher. So, okay. So there's a Watcher that has to stay watching until a Paladin goes and gets another Watcher to relieve the other Watcher, who is a Griffin. And the other Griffin will go with the Paladin.
I mean, you could just say
And
that
then-
the Watcher shows up if what you're writing makes things happen.
Yeah, but he's going to be bound to whatever the.
We gotta
This is
focus
going to
on
be
the
like
good, evil
another
thing.
500
Yes.
pages
He's
book.
going to be bound to whatever place holds the library and like whatever needs to happen.
I
let me
I
put
missed
it-
a lot while I was out, but someone here really wants a Griffin.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't?
You are, let me make a point here. You're on the last page of the book. You can't write any more than the last page of the book.
You got to write really small.
No way, man.
Or
I'm
we
making
could
it
just-
big. Barbecue. One of the bees is back.
I think
Get some
good,
crayons
good
out.
and evil.
I missed the whole
Stay
barbecue
in
thing. But I
balance.
assume you're making the flame pit and you're handling
Oh,
all
well,
the...
we got a lava flow going.
And I'm,
We definitely got some good
meantime, I'm trying to good and evil, stay in balance. Nobody blows up anything.
That's fine. Okay.
I
mean-
don't know.
You are writing in an evil book, though. Keep that in mind.
So, evil was stopped and good took over for now.
You want to write that? And then they went to barbecue.
And then they went and had barbecue.
That sounds fine.
Evil
Okay.
was stopped. Good took over. They went to barbecue.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it.
Yes.
12 on the dice!
Woohoo! I wrote the heck out of that page, even though I
I'm
have
gonna-
no
I'm
idea what
End the
language it was.
campaign.
Good took over. They went for barbecue.
We all look around and we're sitting
Okay.
in the barbecue restaurant. Like,
You write that. After you write it, the book closes itself and goes up and makes its own space on the evil side at the end and inserts itself there. A
Sweet.
blank book shows up on the table, and it opens to the first page, and it has the good marking on the binding.
all right, mission accomplished.
Good deal.
Supposedly.
Now what?
Now we're going to go have barbecue.
Yeah.
Well, if we said we vanquished evil, then we need to go do that. Because last
Or-
I
or
recall,
it
we
already
No,
said-
we just
happened.
it just
already
happened.
did.
We
we need
just
to
said
verify.
Okay.
All right.
We need to verify.
trust
So
but
let's
verify.
go check on that Balrog thing.
So you open the door, and you are not where you were. You're underground somewhere else, though. It's just a natural cavern. The door opens, and in front of you are just stalactites, stalagmites, and as far as you can see, with the light coming out of the room, it's just an open cavern that you're in.
So we still look behind us, library, forward,
Yeah.
some cave.
Okay, we have to remember where we are because we may be the only ones now that know where this is.
Well, it's
So, like-
going to change. Like the
It
the
might.
library
Yeah, but-
always moves.
But we might be the ones who made it move instead
Oh,
of
we
somebody
totally
else
did.
who
We
was
finished
supposed
it,
to
yeah.
make it move. Now we should be
Well,
aware of where we are and
the skeleton boy was the guy that was probably supposed to make it move originally.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
saying
he was
I think we're the
interrupted.
first people that know where
I
we
almost
are.
want to like you cast that spell and ask him like, hey, what was the means to your demise?
Okay. I mean, we can ask.
Just to see if there was like some Was it Drummond? Yeah, because Drummond he's old. He's probably a couple 100 years old. He could have did it. Could have been somebody else, some wizard or something. Or the wizard we knew with the symbols and stuff.
Yeah.
Although, like, it had the stuff that we just did, like, minutes before that in the book.
Yeah,
so,
but we
like,
can't read that.
Yeah, but he was like...
You're looking at pictures, like crude drawings. But yeah.
Like, it had the picture of you stabbing that thing.
Yeah.
Right,
And
but it didn't
so
have
that was
anything
like-
on him, though. It didn't have anything on the dwarf. I don't know. I was just trying to get more information.
But, like, if he doesn't write as a skeleton, he was killed, like, seconds before we walked in the door.
Possibly.
We could go talk to him.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, if we can get... I mean, we might as well try it before we take off. As soon as that door closes, I don't know if we can get back in. It's the same.
Yeah, I'll try it again. All right, that's an 11.
Wow.
Nice.
You guys are rolling.
Yeah.
Heat.
Yeah, not always.
So, when you do that, the skull levitates back up, and it says, "Ask me in the next episode." Wrap this one up.
Sounds good.
He knows?
He does. He
Knows
does.
everything.
It's like balance and all that stuff.
wrote his
But in the meantime, we'll wrap this one up, and we can all say,
See you later.
Bye.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by One Joe Young. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.